So I finally got myself a tiny sluice box, which you can use in the public foster king areas. It's a meter long and less than 30 centimeters, I think, or 20 centimeters, something like that. But it's the right size for going to the public foster king areas here in New Zealand. And I've heard of a place where there's gold, and the gold is sitting in amongst some cobbles on a river, and the bedrock, well, not really rock, but the siltstone is full of fossils. So that sounds like a perfect place to go fossil hunting and also find some gold. To get through the west coast where the gold is going to be, I had to drive over the Southern Alps mountain range. So I'm going from Christchurch to Hokitika. It should take about 3.5 hours, but probably closer to 5 hours because I always stop and have a look for some fossils. And of course we needed some supplies, so I went off to the supermarket to stock up on some necessities. I've just parked up over here in this rest stop, and I'm going to see if I can get down and have a look if there's any fossils to be found over there. There's a river between me and that hill, but yeah, there might be something good in the river, so let's go have a look. And there's the entrance to the cave, right over there. Yeah, it's definitely limestone. Big limestone blocks everywhere here. I don't see any shells. I don't see any shells in there. That cow gave me a fright. Looks like it's coming down for a drink of water. Last time I came down here was during a rainstorm, and it was super slippery and sketchy. This is a lot easier. That's when I went probably a third of the way into that cave, decided it wasn't safe to do alone in a rainstorm. Definitely not safe to go then. Beautiful down here. Some fossil shells in there. Don't know if you can see it, but it's right in the middle there. I think there's 2 fish that I can see. And the sandflies have found me. This rock over here is actually packed with fossils, this limestone. There's bits and pieces of fossil shells everywhere in here. Today is actually a great day to be doing this. You see this terrace on the side here, that's above water, which means there's not too much water flowing through the stream, and you can see it's very calm, the water, there's no ripples in it. So today would have been quite a good day. Let's just go to that first area, that first bend. This water is crystal clear. Yeah, this is much nicer than when I tried it last. I'll put a little clip in here of when I tried to do it, and you'll see the difference. But yeah, never do this alone. It's about 300 meters from this side to the exit, and it's pitch black, so you need a good torch, probably a wetsuit, because it gets pretty deep in there. All those shells in there. That's full of bivalves. Yeah, it's absolutely packed. This is a really good layer where this is coming from. Must be upstream from here. This is the kind of stuff you find shark teeth in. Just looking if there's any shiny bits. Don't see any. See if there's more of this rock around. Here's another piece. So many shells in there. Looks like bivalves mostly. And we're about 100 kilometers, 60 miles from the ocean. And this would have been all covered by the ocean, I think in the Oligocene, like 30 million years ago.
It was just about time for some morning tea, so I decided to stop here where there was a golem on the roof. It looked like an interesting place to have a coffee, and there were quite a few strange sculptures, a lot of Lord of the Rings themed kind of things outside there. And when I went inside, it was even more interesting inside. Some really interesting taxidermy. There was just so much to look at here. You didn't kind of know where to look. There was always something interesting. And here are some beautiful gold nuggets and gold flakes from the area. They've been found in and around Hokitika. While I was walking around, I found a South African shop and managed to fill up on some more biltong because I'd already eaten mine on the way over.
Yeah, that's a fossil. Shell fossil, I think. I think this is a concretion, actually. Yeah, that's a concretion. That's a good sign. That's a piece of petrified wood in there. It's been eaten away by shipworm. And that's siltstone, and I can see some fossils sticking out the side there. Have a look there. Those are definitely, I think, some tusk shells and some coral. That's promising. Yeah, that's definitely siltstone. Well, definitely fossils around. Look at that beautiful shell. I can see a few more next to it. There's one over there too. The first time at a new location like this, it's just about trying to figure out what rocks are going to be the fossil bearing ones. This one definitely has that concretion look to it. Yeah, that's a concretion. I don't see anything on the outside, no bones sticking out. It's promising.
This is where someone else had been mining into the bank. So you're not supposed to mine into the bank, and this was so dodgy. That went back about 2-3 meters. And look at that overhang, that overburden. That was not safe at all. I stayed very far away from this. Someone had already been digging behind this rock over here. I thought, well, that's as good a place as any. Let's see if any gold had been trapped behind it. I took a couple of pans of material from here. It's really hard digging because it's just full of river cobbles. I'm sure there are some expert gold miners watching this right now and seeing 10 or 20 things I'm doing wrong. So please leave some comments here. I'd love to learn a bit more. Is there enough water flowing through that sluice? Firstly, I'm not sure about the water going through there. And yeah, I think I need to be digging deeper. I definitely wasn't digging deep enough. We forgot to bring one of those tiny scoops that you use to scoop the sediment onto the sluice box. So we ended up just, throwing it directly from the bucket, which I think is very much the wrong thing. We were putting way too much through at a time. I'm removing the concentrated material from the sluice over here. So theoretically, the gold should be in this dirt that's at the bottom of the sluice. And now to pan it down, and hopefully we've got some gold in the pan. It takes me about 5 minutes to pan the concentrates down, and I should be doing this over a container so that I can process it again. And here is the gold we found. There's about 6 or 7 specks in there, and then one larger flake, as you can see over there. So we've definitely found gold, about 20 cents worth of gold. As we were packing up the gold sluice, I saw this spot, and this is exactly what we were looking for, where the clay meets the river rocks. So there's going to be a part 2 at some point. Before I headed back over the mountains to the eastern side of the island, I came down to the beach here at Hokitika to see if I could spot a piece of pounamu. And I found this beautiful piece. Look at that. It's got such deep colors. Those greens, those translucent bits are amazing. I'm going to take this piece to Campbell Carvings, and he's going to turn it into something really special later in the video.
just saw this piece of limestone over here in the front. And there was a road right next to it, so let's have a look. Might be something cool. Lots of bits of limestone down here. This looks pretty cool. I think that's weathered limestone. Might be able to find some fossils in here. Oh, a big fossil, not tiny fossils. No ways. Do you see that? There's a shark tooth, a decent sized one, sticking out here. I was not expecting to find a brilliant shark tooth like this. Look at it, it's perfect. It's got the point and everything, tip. I first saw this fossil over here. I think that's a gastropod. And then that beautiful shark tooth. So I've got that piece of maybe pounamu.
Yeah, beautiful.
And Campbell's going to tell us a bit about it.
Wow, pounamu. So you found this on the beach, right?
Yeah,
over on the West Coast.
yeah.
That's the cool thing with pounamu, that you can go and fossick for it on the beaches. It is one of the taonga of the iwi, like tahu, back from pre-colonial times. Through the troubled history between the Crown and the indigenous people of this country, that taonga, the treasure, got taken off them and treated like other minerals, like gold and whatever else is in the ground. And the government owned it and controlled it.
Yeah.
But recently, with the treaty settlement process, pounamu was, and the control and ownership of it was given back to the iwi. So the iwi now own all pounamu in its natural state.
And the iwi is Ngāi Tahu.
The iwi is Ngāi Tahu.
Yeah.
And Ngāi Tahu is evolved of quite a few different hapu.
Yeah.
And on the coast, Kati Waiwai and Makawhio, they're the main hapu in the area that manage and look after stuff. And what they have done is they've chosen to make, and actually probably go back to where it comes from as well, because pounamu, two things. Pounamu there's a couple of minerals. So there's serpentine and nephrite jade. Yeah. And serpentine includes a special type called bowenite, which is very translucent, beautiful stuff. The nephrite jade was a highly prized. It's tougher and harder and good for weapons and tools. So back in, using stone for tools and that sort of stuff, that was very good. And that comes from up in the mountains of the Southern Alps, pushed up from tectonic plates movement, and then have been washed down through the rivers. So it's all through the rivers and in the land as well. A lot of it came out through gold mining. Yeah. And it's still found in the mines to this day. But then it all washes out into the beach, so you can find it on the beaches too. And so what Ngāi Tahu has done is recognise that fossicking for pounamu is a part of being a New Zealander, part of living in Aotearoa, part of our history. So they want to make it available for everybody, including tourists, so anyone in the public can go to the beaches to fossick for pounamu, like you. And you're allowed to take as much as you can carry. Yeah. Now what I think you have found is a piece of serpentine pounamu, which has some beautiful colouring in it. So the light green in here, which almost looks translucent. And it's already in the shape. It's
a brilliant shape for a pendant,
yeah. So that's what I have learned and what I know. If anyone knows any different, as I always say, please correct me or say something different. But
no, thanks, Campbell. And you've got your own YouTube channel and TikTok channel.
Yeah, totally. So if you're interested in more about pounamu and carving it, I do a lot of my carving stuff and lashings and tutorial stuff on YouTube. I put a lot of my stuff about finding pounamu and working it on TikTok and the Facebook stuff where I put a lot of my finished pieces and that sort of stuff.
Nice.
Facebook.
And an awesome website. We talked about your website.
And website, yep. So you look at campbellcarving.co.nz, which has got all my home base in some ways. Everything about pounamu, the official stuff, and I got a shop on there as well. I'll get it finished and all that, so check it out if you can.
So we're going to polish that little piece.
Yeah, we'll give it a little polish and see if you had a close up. So this is a pre-polish.
There we go. Yeah, that's focusing. It takes a while to focus.
Yeah, so this is a pre-polished as you found it on the beach.
Yeah.
We'll see what it looks like after it's been shined up a bit.
That's much quieter than I thought it was going to be.
This one's quiet, yep.
Yeah, that's real shiny. That looks like something you could buy in a store now.
It does.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Should we put a hole in it?
Yeah.
Yep, there's definitely serpentine. Nephrite will be a lot. Take a bit longer to get through.
The wax is going to soak into all the pores you were talking about because it's a porous rock.
Yep. Yeah, so depending on how porous it is, the more porous it is, the more likely it can dry out and go kind of a bit more of a faded, talky kind of colour. Whereas very tight grain, high quality stuff won't do that.
Okay.
So if you do have pounamu that is like that, you've got to do one of two things. One is wear it.
Yeah.
If you wear it, it's no problem. Or two, you need to oil it for best display room, display conditions.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you've got a sculpture and it's kind of going funny and dried, it's because of that. Nail clippers and you've been used for chopping nails. There you go.
That looks amazing.
It's done. Wear your piece of Aotearoa now.
Yeah, that looks so much more complete.
I say a lot that the lashing is like the framing of a piece of art. You know, the better the frame, the better it shows off the artwork. And if you put a cheap single strand on something, it makes it look cheap.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that is way more than I expected.
Oh.
There it is, all
Take
lashed up.
Done. Yeah.
No, thanks. That looks amazing.